And we are back with another episode of the Ultra Crude Podcast.
Oh, you know what that sounds
That's
like.
the sound of another episode of the Ultra Crude Podcast. That's what that is. I'm, of course, Big John, and with me, as always, the magnificent, the amazing, the wonderful, the beautiful, the mother of Midstate, the mayor of the Murder Mile, the queen of Cruel Jewel, BMFJ.
Thanks. I don't know about the queen, but okay.
Hey, listen, I think it works. I think it works. How many buckles you got there?
I just earned number 4.
Number 4. So that's
For
2 complete sets and 2 bonus buckles of the Cruel Jewel 100.
yeah. Do you want to explain what the sets are?
The set is the for the if you run the half at Cruel Jewel.
He likes to refer to 50 milers as the half.
Well, if you've got a 100-mile race
Yeah.
and 50 is a half of 100, that's the half.
Mm-hmm.
So if you run the half, you get a belt, a lovely belt, a
That
Cruel
belt
Jewel belt, a belt that fits the buckle.
only because it's measured small, so you have to have the buckle.
You just get a bigger one.
I won't give you.
They look good together. And the belt buckle is the size of a dinner plate, and they go together. And you've got 2 complete sets, which means you've done the 100
4 times.
4 times and the 50 2 times. So you're lopsided in your race award accoutrement.
Yeah.
We got to even that out, don't you think?
I am even on the DNFs. I've got 150-mile DNF and 100-mile DNF out there.
Boom, DNF set. There we go.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, they got a match.
Absolutely.
So what are we gonna do next year? You just gonna go back and you gotta get the belts? So you gonna even it out, or what are you gonna do?
No, next year will be the buckle.
Okay, we're gonna do buckle. You retired from running out. Before we get into it, before we get all the way in, we're just gonna start. Somebody retired from running.
Yeah.
Retired from running Cruel Jewel.
I definitely said that
out there in the night.
I think I say that at the end of every year.
No,
but I don't know
you
if
do not.
I've ever said
You've never uttered the words "I retire from this" to me. Not when thine eyes can hear. Thine ears can hear. No. Well, let's listen. Obviously, this weekend we went and Miss Jones here, repping the race swag, participated in Dumbass Events Cruel Jewel 100 out of Blue Ridge, Georgia, which is 105 miles across the North Georgia mountains. Right, it's got a little Duncan Ridge Trail in it. It's got a little Benton Mackay Trail in it. 30 plus thousand feet of vert. Is it 33?
Yeah, it's just shy of 33.
Just shy of 33,000 feet. So to put that in perspective, Everest, the world's most famous mountain, comes in right at 29,000 feet. So if you were somehow to climb Mount Everest and then climb another 5,000 feet or 4,000 feet, and then go all the way back down, you would be doing the elevation profile of Cruel Jewel.
That was accurate.
Is there a lot of flat open running out there?
Surprisingly, there's more running than you think.
Well, because half of it's downhill.
That's the worst part. The downhill's the worst part. The uphill's fine. The uphill might be slow going sometimes and steep, but it's the downhill.
Yeah. So if you ask how runnable the course is, well, about 50% of it is you're going to want to run that for sure.
Yeah, but there are some flat, runny sections. You just may not want to.
That bridge is real runny. It's super flat.
Yeah. When you get on top of the mountains, you can run.
For 5 feet before you go back down.
It's runnable.
We had a great race. It was beautiful. It was a little warm weather-wise. A good weekend. We got down there, hit up Packet Pickup, went to that Ingalls. Listen, I don't want to tell the whole story for us, but, jump in whatever you want, Ms. Jones. How are you feeling going into race weekend?
I was feeling pretty calm. That's what I was telling Aaliyah before the race. I mean, we had a bunch of stress the week before, and yeah,
I would say so. I think this is definitely the most calm you've been the week of a race and race. The week before that, not a lot of calmness was going on. I think maybe you got it all out of your system, or just didn't time it right. One of the two.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the way I felt this week, though.
Yeah, it was very, very subdued. It was almost lackluster.
Yeah. But even before, I usually have some sort of pre-race nerves, but I just didn't.
What do you think contributed to the lack of pre-race nerves? Was it a mindset shift? Did you change your goals, or did you forget how it felt to run Cruel Jewel?
You don't ever forget what it feels like to run Cruel Jewel. You don't
Does
forget.
that stick with you? That's the pain that doesn't go away.
It's a pretty traumatizing experience.
I would say so.
Well, and the past 2 years have actually been really good that I ran it.
Well, yeah, last year was pretty good. You only ran like 20 miles of it.
Yeah, but that 20 miles was not good.
No, not a good 20 miles.
No, that was not good.
No, not good
but
at all.
How about the previous 2 successes there? Because the first one was a train wreck. I was just holding on.
Well, you've got 3. So, yeah, the first year.
That was the 41-hour finish.
That was 41. I remember that.
Oh, God.
I was on board for that. And then Buckles 2 and 3 went pretty swimmingly.
Yeah, 31 hours, 32 hours, second place female, third place female.
Yeah, not in the cards for you this year.
No, but I didn't go in anticipating that either. You know, like I told you, I was planning on somewhere between 33 and 36 hours. I just wanted to get it done. That's what I said in the text.
Oh, I know that's what you said.
Yeah. I said, you know, if it ends up being a good day and I find myself in a good position, then, you know, I'll go for it. But otherwise, I just want to have 4 done and walk away not completely wrecked. That was the other goal, was to not run myself into the ground, which I certainly did not. With the 38 hours.
Was it 38?
Yes.
Are we going to call it 38?
Yes, we are, because it was 38:40 something. It's still 38 fucking hours. It's not 39.
Okay.
We're not rounding up.
Fair.
So, on you.
Good job.
Yeah. I mean, I could have really made it 39 had I decided to not start running. So
yeah, we were
fucking around.
We were staring down the barrel.
Oh, yeah. When I realized what time it was, I finally... And I wish I had looked...
The long night was coming. Let's not get to the end.
Okay.
But give it... Yeah.
I'm going to say I wish I had looked at the actual time of day on my watch sooner, because I think I would have flipped that switch much sooner. When I realized the time, the internal dialogue went, oh my fucking God, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're not doing this shit again. And then I started running again.
Yeah. All right. We'll take us back. How'd it go? What was it like? I mean, you know, nobody wants to hear my story of Cruel Jewel.
I think you do a good I think you do a good job of pulling it out of me and talking along. But we ran down.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. So, listen, we got down there. I got to get... We've got to join the Ingalls customer program.
I'm joined.
I didn't know you were joined up.
Yeah, I fucking joined.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I gotta get on board of that. Ingalls was great. Hit up Ingalls a couple times. Went to the Iron Bridge Cafe quite a few times. Our Airbnb was right on the course.
We did.
It was so right on that Airbnb. Yeah, it was fantastic. It was on the road going up to Stanley Gap. And I think what I'll do, for those interested, if you've heard of Cruel Jewel, if you've ran it before, maybe once, haven't figured it out yet, or you're going down for the first time, I'm going to put out an ultimate crew package.
Let's do it.
To how to execute this race from the crew side to perfection, to give yourself the best chance of success crewing your runner at Cruel Jewel. Because there's some shenanigans that always take place.
Yeah.
But Ingalls was good. Lunch was good. I got a peach milkshake.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
It could have been more peachy.
Oh.
It was not a very peachy milkshake. They didn't have any peanut butter pies this year, so it's kind of a bum deal. Yeah, but it unfolded well. That first 20-mile section came in right when I expected you to.
Yeah.
So I was happy with that. Here's just a quick tip. Listen, people, there's a little joint called the Iron Bridge Cafe that sits like 2 miles from the first crude aid station on Old Dial Road. And your runner will run right by it on their way to the aid station. So you can just kind of hang out there and have a cheeseburger, some French fries, or other assorted breakfast items or lunch items. They got wonderful food and baked goods, and just kind of hang out. So that's what we did.
Yeah. You cannot crew your runner or do
no,
anything.
But you can say hi.
Yeah, you can say hi, but
don't abuse the system.
Yeah.
Don't abuse John's tips and tricks. No shenanigans out there.
No shenanigans.
Got to be cool with it.
You got to wait another mile before you.
You got to be cool with it. Yeah. They're going to come back, and that's listen. Oh my gosh. So that first 20 miles goes quick for runners because it is the fastest portion of the course by far. And you're running down into Old Dial, that first crude aid station, at like a 6 mile downhill.
Yeah.
On the road. It's smooth. It's open.
Yeah.
It's free. People are just getting after it. And what happens is they get down in there and they've realized that they've gone out too fast and that it's hot.
It's very hot because the race does start at noon.
It does start at noon. But you came in very measured. You're very temperate.
Yes.
You're like just chillaxing. Yeah. Moseyed on in there. And that's the right strategy. This should be the slowest 50K of your life. The start of Cruel Jewel should be the slowest 50K of your life. Intentionally. Because the next 75 miles are going to be fucking awful. And I apologize for the language. But it is going to be incredibly difficult. It doesn't get easier. It only gets harder. It gets harder every single step.
Oh, absolutely. And it's the other thing that I think people lose in all the excitement is you start at noon.
Yeah.
And you go down into Deep Gap. It's very shady. You don't realize, I mean, like it's humid down there, but you don't realize how fucking hot it is.
Yeah.
It's always hot. Well, you start climbing for 2 miles and then you get like 2 miles downhill. You're running, you're going, you hit Stanley Gap aid station.
Boom, bang,
then you
boom.
go to the road section, and the road section is a gradual downhill that way.
Yeah, you're just cruising.
Man, you can just clip them off, and it's all exposed and sun, and the asphalt just radiates heat.
Getting hot, y'all.
Oh, yeah. People don't realize how hot they get.
Oh, they do.
Oh, well,
and then it's too late.
And that's the problem. I took my time all through there, and I still did. I think I ran.
Oh, yeah. Like 4:20, 4.5.
Which is
somewhere around in there.
Kind of where I planned on being.
Perfect.
I stopped at creeks. I took my shirt off.
You did. You were hot, and you're complaining about the heatness.
Yeah, I mean I was hot, but I did well to stop, take my shirt off, dip it in the creeks, and I did that multiple times throughout that section. And on the road, I pretty much mostly walked, and got my heart rate down because it was staying 170, 175. It was hitting 180. It hit 185 at one point. And I was like, there's no way, but I could feel it. And when I would put my shirt in the water, then put it back on, I could see my heart rate just immediately drop on my watch. I was like, all right, this is what I need to keep doing. And when I was out on the road, it was finally dropping down to 140, 150 during those walk sections. So I was like, you know what? This is what we're going to do. Let my body recover a little bit. It's the heat. It's like, it's after 2:00 at that point. It's the hottest part of the day.
Yep.
And I felt like that was a winning strategy. And since I was using the waist belt, it was easy to get my shirt on and off.
Another winning strategy right there.
Yep. A calculated
risk strategy.
Yeah. Well, the risk was worth the reward.
Yeah, I think it worked out. Certainly keeps you cooler. I don't know that you were able to carry the amount of gear or nutrition sometimes we would have liked you to have on longer sections.
I think if I had worn the naked belt, probably could have fit more. That one fit a lot, but
maybe 2 belts. Maybe it's a 2-belt system.
Well, the one I was using was very stretchy. I really liked that material a lot more, and it was really comfortable, but it did have more bounce. Now I figured out, because I was using the plastic disposable water bottles, because I didn't want to suck air from flask, and I also just didn't want to taste plastic flask. Like, the freshness of the bottles.
Little diva.
Worked really
ultra
well.
Running diva with her water freshness.
Yeah, it made me actually want to drink. I didn't look at that flask and go, oh my God, this tastes like shit. And even plain water out of a running flask, it doesn't taste good. So
you have very exquisite taste buds. Very developed. Your palate, your ultra running palate is very refined.
No, just after I ran across the state, I really developed a hatred for the taste of plastic flasks.
Yeah. So we get down in there, get you cooled off.
Yeah.
Get you cooled off at Old Dial Road. Quick minutes. I think you were there for 5. So one of our goals was to really manage downtime on this endeavor. And then send you back out. And then we saw you again at Will Scott. And Will Scott, I could see it. I was a little unsure because you were so subdued the week before, and you were kind of like, meh. You were kind of meh when you came into Old Dial Road. I was like, yeah, what does she got for us today? What does she got going?
Oh no, I was just hot and trying to manage.
Yeah, I understand what's happening. I'm not new. Not my first rodeo.
I know.
But Will Scott, you had that little gleam in your eye. You had that little pep, that little mojo, the little swagger.
Well, to be fair, I had stopped at the river, dipped my shirt in there, cooled off, and then hopped on back on the trail down to y'all.
Yeah,
that was pretty good. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed the river.
There's not a river going into Will Scott.
Oh wait, sorry. I was thinking of Old Dial. My bad.
Follow along, will you?
Yeah. No, Will Scott was good. You're right.
Yeah,
That's where I had the little video that I posted on the Instagrams with my belt, my little
shaking shimmy. You're shaking and shimmying. What is that?
I don't know.
Oh, good grief! All right, and then and you know what? You needed a little pep in your step because what lay before you was about 25 miles of the Duncan Ridge Trail.
Yeah. Well, they removed the crew stop at Skeena, and usually I see y'all at Skeena before I head down to DRT. They removed it,
so we weren't going to see you until the turnaround, more or less, at Wolf Creek, down in the bottoms, in the depth of the night.
Satan's humid butthole.
I thought it was pleasant down there. I really did.
Oh, you hadn't seen what I'd seen out there.
I guess not. So we sent you off out into the wilderness. How'd that first traverse go?
I really enjoyed that section out of Will Scott, and I do enjoy that section leaving out that direction.
Yeah.
I do not enjoy coming back that way. But heading out, it's like my favorite way to go. I really got in a good groove, was just looking forward to getting to Skeena. Got in there, rock and rolled on out because I was wanted to get as close to fish as I could before it got dark. And I will say this is where a little bit of it, and it was short-lived, but it popped back up. You know, when you have ran faster and you have times that you can compare and where you are on that course, it's very easy to not be present in what you're in. And I knew that I was coming in to fish way later than I had before, you know, probably at least a couple hours, and I wasn't going to beat the dark there. And there was like a moment of like womp womp, and I was like, no, you knew you were running slower this year. Like, you knew that. It's fine. Feel good. The goal was to get into the halfway mark and feeling good. So as I was headed up roads, I saw one of our friends coming back down, and they were dropping, chatted with them for a minute, and continued bebopping along, came into fish. Somebody was asking about like the next miles and how far to the next aid station, and it's like 7 miles, and it's a long 7 miles. It feels all of
that section.
9.
So there's 2 aid stops on the DRT before you get to the turnaround: Fish Gap and Fire Pit. For those who are unaccustomed, and it doesn't matter which way you're going. That section is probably the worst 7 miles on paper and 8.5 miles in reality on the whole course. Like it's just not friendly.
No. Once you leave Fish Gap going this direction, you know, it's not too bad getting down out of Fish Gap. You're basically descending 800 feet in a mile. I mean, it's and steep as shit. Coming back is, anyways, we'll get there. But yeah, it's a rough section. It never feels good, even when you feel good. It's really, really long. And of course, you're going through that in the middle of the night. And I mean, I was in a good headspace. I stopped, texted you, went to pee, and was like, all right, well, I'm going to go head to Fire Pit now. And actually ended up linking up with a runner that him and I have been bouncing back and forth, you know, kind of leapfrogging. And we had great conversation. It really made the time go by. He was running really well on the downhills and flats, and probably faster than I would have moved. We were climbing slower than I'd like, but and not like in a bad way. It just, I have a speed that I like to climb, and slowing down puts more pressure on the ball of my feet. So it was kind of uncomfortable, but that was fine. So we we did that section almost all the way to Fire Pit. I probably pushed on maybe a mile and a half out afterwards. And yeah, the time flew by. He's ran a bunch of the races I want to run. He was earning his jacket, getting his 5th Cruel Jewel.
Boom.
Yeah, great. Michael was awesome. Really, really enjoyed the conversation. And I was surprised that, like, oh, wow, that horrible section that usually snatches souls, like,
you evaded it.
Yeah,
not so bad.
Yeah, we
used the buddy system.
And Mulkey Gap is kind of a benchmark along there that is usually an aid station at H9, like the DRT 50K. So when we came across Mulkey Gap, I was like, oh shit, this is flying by. This is fantastic. Now I knew between Mulkey Gap and Fire Pit is where your soul really gets snatched.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? This is a good vibe. Stay here. This is working.
Vibing.
Came into Fire Pit feeling great and just ready to get on down to you guys. I don't think I stayed there long at all. I topped off my water and then...
There's really no sense in dilly-dallying at Fire Pit. And Fire Pit sits at the base of what is the high point and most notorious point on the course, which is Coosa Bowl.
Yes. Yeah. So you head out of Fire Pit and you have about a mile climb to the top.
It's short. It's short and sweet, though. You're getting right on up there.
Yeah, and it goes up. Just
show enough up.
You're fucking in it. Like, you start up the hill, and you're like, oh yeah, we're doing this.
It doesn't lull you in.
No, and it's going down. I was passing some people, kind of going down Coosa. I was not trying to bomb down, but I was trying to hustle on down.
What is it? It's 4 miles down from Coosa down into Wolf Creek. So it's a short, like 1 mile up, but then you're going down for a much longer period of time.
Yeah, you're going downhill for close to an hour, if not more. I mean, it depending on the speed that you're moving. And it's rocky. It's not rutted out. There's some smooth sections.
There's some dicey sections, I think. But for the most part, like, not so bad.
Yeah.
Not so bad.
So I came in. Happy to see you guys.
Yeah, we timed that perfectly, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, again, there's not a lot of things I do well. But we got there about 15-ish, 20-ish minutes before you rolled in.
Mm-hmm.
You're about an hour away. So, we were taking a little nap. Your pacer, Aaliyah, she got some sleep and kind of just check to see where you're at, see when you were going to check in to Fire Pit and know how long that was really going to take and playing with your pace. And so we took off, got in there about 20 minutes ahead, put a little drop bag together for you so that you would have it when you came from the out and back, because it's a crude aid station, but there's an out and back on the other half of that. So you're going to come into it, but when you come back down, you don't allowed crew.
Yeah.
So when you pick up your pacer's just kind of hanging out, or you have to wait until you go through Wolf Creek and you're doing the out and back and then come in to crew you. And we opted for, well, that's an extra 5 miles. Let's make this section a little bit shorter. Because anyway, said hi to the people down there. Brian and Shelly Gages were there. They put on a bunch of good events. They're the ones that do No Business 100 up in Kentucky. So it was super awesome to see them. Brad Goodrich, as always, just ever present. It was really, so it was nice. It's nice to get in there and kind of hang out with some people and, say hi to those friendly faces that are always part of the event and we see around the area. And you were in good shape. I don't think we took very long. Got you a fresh headlamp, little protein shake, some nutrition ready, and you were good to go.
Yeah, I mean, I felt really good coming in. I was very excited to get there, and I was honestly surprised with how good I felt. And I really felt like keeping myself cool throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
I really felt that once it got dark, because one of the other problems you run into with overheating throughout the day is, and sometimes you'll go ahead and feel like crap, but as your body's trying to cool itself, it's taking blood that is usually used for digestion and all your intestines, that fun things, and it's pulling it to the surface of your skin. So once the sun does go down and it gets cooler, all of a sudden your stomach turns on you and you start throwing up or, pooping your pants or whatever.
Tummy problems. People have tummy problems.
Yeah.
I saw a guy at Old Dial Road the first time with some tummy problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we also see this a lot at Mid-State. People have been overeating, and then as soon as it gets cool, And they're like, what happened? And it's like, oh, well, your stomach started digesting
Yeah.
and you've consumed so many calories. And your stomach's like, whoa, I can't do all this.
Yep.
Anyways. So I was really, really excited with how good I felt and how good I was able to thermoregulate, because that's the other thing with getting hot throughout the day. Once you start getting up those higher points on the course and it gets dark, it's cooler, there's a lot more breezes up there, your body can't really regulate. One, it's in a hole. Two, your core temperature's hot as shit and it's trying to level out and cool down. So I was like, oh, I A++ today on my cooling strategy.
You can get a gold star.
Yeah, I did. So I did my out and back, came back down. You were gone. But Aaliyah was waiting on me, and then we headed out, started on up Coosa. Usually takes about an hour and a half to climb, hour and 45 if you're in good. I think it took us about 2 because it started to storm.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, right when we got to the top, and it was just a little bit before sunrise. I think the sun had actually finally risen by the time we got to the top. And it was a lot of rain. And it was really, really, really freaking cold. And we were starting that steep ass descent. And it had just turned into mud and bullshit. I mean, you couldn't get down the hill.
What kind of footwear were you having? What were you wearing on your feet?
Sandals, as I always wear.
That's weird.
I wouldn't have been in sandals had I known it was going to rain. No one.
You knew it was going to rain. It was going to rain the whole time.
Yeah, but I didn't know when it was going to rain. And no one
just wear shoes.
Told me it was going to rain. Otherwise, I would have had a hat. I would have had a jacket. And I would have had shoes.
I don't believe any of that.
You can not believe it all you want. I brought those things for those purposes.
Anyway, yeah, so, I don't know.
Yeah, so I survived the slip and slide down the back of the fucking mountain. Unable to see with rain in my eyes and freezing cold. And I was thinking about when I get to the aid station, man, we really got to go because I'm going to have to start running because once I start shivering, I'm fucked. Okay. And Aaliyah said she had a windbreaker on her because I was like, I really have to have like a trash bag or something. I've got to trap some of this body heat because I'm freezing. She's like, oh, yeah, here's this windbreaker. I was like, oh my God, thank you. Well, of course, she was freezing too. So we get to the aid station. And we asked if they have like a trash bag. They had given all theirs away. But Stuart did have an emergency blanket.
What up, Stuart?
Yes. So
shout out Higher Ground family.
It was great to see him there. I was a little bummed to not see Kelly. She was at home asleep, but that's okay. She had to work. I understand. So that saved our asses because moving out of there, it was really, really freaking cold. Just being that wet. For those that don't know, once the sun comes up, it's usually the coldest right at like a little bit after sunrise.
Yeah, that sunrise is usually the coldest part of the day.
Yeah. So, and since we were up on the higher portions of the course, it was really fucking cold. Yeah.
To put it in perspective, it's not like it was below freezing. It was like mid-50s.
Mid-50s after.
But it's going to feel cold. So.
Yeah, after it had been like 85 all day.
Yeah, not for nothing. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying that you weren't cold. I'm just giving a little more context to the temperature around the coldness.
Oh, speaking of temperature, the fascinating thing about that night was I was running and it was still hot and humid and blowing. Hot fucking air.
Yeah, I know.
Hot air was blowing, but you could see your breath. I was like, how the fuck is this sciencing? I don't understand this. It's hot as balls. It's like sweaty Satan's asshole in a shower, like just steamy fucking hot. And here's the other thing.
Visual. This is a crude podcast.
Well, okay. Be real honest about how fucking shitty this section was. And I was doing pretty good on my way out, like whatever. The return trip after everything was wet.
This is from Fire Pit to Fish Gap.
Yes.
Yes. Which is the worst part of the course.
Yes.
And the worst of the two directions to run.
Absolutely. And about 3 years ago, the Forest Service did controlled burns.
You can see stuff now, though.
Yeah. There's fucking that. It's great. But, what happens when you burn things is, that undergrowth pops up.
It sure does.
And
rejuvenation. It's coming back.
It rejuvenates all over my fucking face.
Well, be taller.
No. That was like the thing. Everything's hitting me. There's all these
so many challenges you face with brush and shrubbery.
everything is like face level on me.
And
These
it's wet.
briars across, and they don't like really maintain it. It's just so you're going through these sections where you're literally just, if you're a taller male, it's great. It just goes across your chest. It's catching me and Aaliyah in the face and hair and everything else. And there's poison oak, poison ivy, briars, nettles, all sorts of other shit. You can't see anything. You can't see the ground. You can't see where you're stepping. I I would love to know if there were like a little ball I could shake that would give me a number to how many snakes did we either step over, step next to, or what was there. I'm really curious because you can't see.
I don't think you want to know that number.
I'd be curious.
Nah, I'm good. I like to live in the ignorance of not knowing.
I mean, I've almost stepped on a copperhead at 1 o'clock in the morning out there. Like, I know that they're.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, between the storm wrecking shop on the course and it being super muddy, slippery, and then just all these wet bushes hitting you in the face hour after hour, I'm going to say the mental toll it took on me energy-wise, it was significant. Especially when I had not been so miserable on the first trip out. And parts of the trail, they try to do work on. So then it's just like mud. Everything's off camber. It's just because some of these trails are just kind of cut into the mountain. Like they went through and went, here you go. And then more rain and storm. People come through and then the camber goes like this. And it's just angled down the mountain. And then there's just poison ivy everywhere. So when you're falling, you don't want to grab the ground. You want to stay upright, because if you grab the ground, then at some point you're going to have to eat or scratch yourself or rub your face. And then you're going to get that shit all over you. And here's the thing. I don't usually have a problem with poison ivy unless I am hot and sweaty.
Yeah.
If it's just like a day, like I walk through the woods all the time and I walk through it, doesn't bother me. I could probably take a nap on it. Would be fine. Once I get hot, oh no. So, water's just pulling on everything, and we were walking through. I was like, look, it's poison ivy water. This is some bullshit. We're just splashing up on us. Anyways, it was
not your best moments.
It was a real character building experience. Yeah. I'm going to say that. And
a little cranky.
I got frustrated too, because I love the first form shorts I was doing. Those were great and they were really good compression. But the problem you run into with things like that is once they get so saturated, they do not hug and compress like they do when they're dry.
Makes sense.
And I don't know if you have.
No, I haven't
seen my thighs.
Oh, I've seen them thighs. Mesmer thighs.
Oh, that's a good one. There's a reason I wear compression. I'm small, but there's a lot there. And let me tell you, the running down hills, God, it was just, I can't have that much shaking on me. I just can't do it. I can't. It hurts too much.
Shaka.
It was so much shaking, and it was so painful.
Which is another, that was one. So yeah, that was another off script item this year was the short change. So shorts are new, belt was new. Sandals aren't new, but I feel like you've done more miles in shoes out there lately. Okay. Yeah. I feel like you've ruined some shoes before.
I have for a couple sections, usually the DRT section is when I try to put them on.
Yeah, we should have done that then.
So, anyways.
You made it through.
I did.
You made it down into Skeena. How was that?
It was a relief, but also earth-shattering because we always have crew there, so it's always like a big relief of God, the hell on earth is over, and I would say the worst of the course is behind you. The course doesn't get easier, but
no, it doesn't.
But the most challenging parts, mentally, physically, and time of day are done.
And sure, and that makes it. And that makes it 30 miles without crew at that point.
Close to it, yeah.
Yeah, thereabouts, because you got 5 plus 5 mile out and back, 20 miles in the DRT, and then 5 more miles from Skeena to Wilscott.
Yeah.
So you're out there at that point without crew. And Ali picked up. She ran 5 more miles, saw you at Wilscott, and you were not super sparkly?
No. When we left out of Skeena, as soon as we walked out of the aid station and I got ready to cross the road, I just started crying.
Yeah, that little gleam in your eye had been stomped out.
I knew it was 6 miles to y'all, but I could also do math, which I don't ever recommend doing.
No, that's bad.
I know it. It's going to be so fucking long. And I didn't have it in me at that time mentally to force myself through the pain to run downhill. And that was one of the other frustrating things is it all hurts. Like it doesn't matter. Like nothing ever feels good. But if you have enough mental energy or you're around that, like you can just accept it and you can just move through it. But once that tank is empty, fighting that physical battle is much harder. It's much harder to compartmentalize.
It's hard to battle two things at once.
Yeah. So, I like to just pick a battle.
And you picked the emotional battle.
That's a losing battle for me.
You were up against the ropes.
Oh, God.
Tyson. You were Mike Tyson. He was raining haymakers down on you.
Oh, God. I did. I prayed a lot out there. Out loud, verbally, a couple times. Anyways.
Well, we saw you at Will Scott, which we were going to do pace change. Phil was there in his Mickey Mouse onesie. We were having a good time as a crew. There was a lady put her husband's truck in the ditch. It looked like it was going to roll down the mountain. We got heavily invested in a willy worm, a little fuzzy worm that was crossing the highway. Just the peril that this fuzzy worm was going through with motorcycles and trucks and cars, going by at breakneck speed and made it all the way across. Like there was several people were invested on both sides of the road in what this woolly worm was doing.
But no one put it on a stick.
You gotta let him succeed. He was in for the fight on his own. I'm not gonna pull him. I'm not gonna take his chance at glory away from him or her or it. Like he was out there. He's like, I'm going for it. And he did. He made it. There were some close calls. There's some really close calls.
Do you think he even knows?
Not a clue. He had no idea what he was in for. He's just out there ignorant.
Like every other fucking runner on the course.
Yeah, pretty much. It was a soliloquy of what everybody else was going through out there.
It was great to come into y'all. I wanted dry clothes.
Yeah, we played a little close. You were a little shattered. Listen, I'm just gonna be real. You were in such good spirits. 40 miles in when I saw you at the turn, I was so mad at you. I was so irritated. Like, why are you being so good at this right now? Do you have any idea how hard other people work to just be horrible? And here you are, just beep deep doo. I'm doing my Becca Jones. What's up? Hi. Just bopping around. And then I saw you at Will Scott, and I wasn't irritated.
You would, you're fucking mortal bitch.
Just see what you get. See what happens. But you were still doing, like, you were upset because you thought you should be doing better. And I'm tracking course times and section times, and you were fine. Like nothing was, like you weren't falling off and being horrible or anything like that. Like you were still moving really well, but you were upset. I think you were just really upset.
I was really, mentally empty for sure. I was frustrated with my body that I couldn't get there sooner, not for lack of the ability. That was the other part, was there was nothing wrong. There's no IT band issues, quads aren't ready.
And I asked you, I said, hey, because you were changing and crying and eating. And I was like, is there anything, and all that's fine, and not to be callous, but there's a large, like, I don't care that much.
Yeah.
Like, I care very much. We can stop all of this right now. Like, we can take care of your emotions, and we can put you in a safe space, and all this can be done. Happy to do it. Anytime you ring the bell, like, we're good. But I know where you're at, and I'm just like, is there anything we need to fix? Is anything wrong with you mechanically?
No.
And you're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, go about your crying. I'm going to go back here and get your stuff ready.
Yeah. I had been wet since pretty much the start the day before from
100%. Yeah.
And I never dried out because it's so humid. Not everything still stays moist.
Damp, at least.
Yes. And I just wanted to be finally freaking dry after.
Which was a point of contention because you asked for the ice bandana at Old Dial Road, and you're adamant about putting the ice in a baggie, and it goes in the van so it keeps you cool and not wet. and you're just like, there was this mix of communication of what you wanted, and me trying to give you the thing you wanted, but not how you wanted it, and you trying to say, I want this, but I want it differently.
Yeah, I didn't feel like you were. I feel like because you know me, you're going based on like.
Yes, of course.
You're just going to default mode instead of listening.
I was listening.
When you've watched me pull my.
You don't know what's going on.
You've just watched me pull my shirt out of the water. I'm being wet.
No.
I need you to lock it down. I need you to use common sense. She has been staying wet this whole time.
Yes.
You're going to put the ice in the Ziploc bag so that I stay dry.
Yes, because I thought maybe you didn't want to be wet anymore. You wanted to be cool,
yeah,
but
I was
less
still
wet.
soaking wet.
Hey, listen.
You're saying I thought you didn't want to be wet as I'm standing there fucking wet.
You weren't that wet. You're not soaking wet.
And
you're not covered in water.
Babe, you're smarter than this. You're a smart man. You're a
anyway,
smart man.
Communication was breaking down all over the place out there.
You're just going to default, and I had changed the game. I went.
Hey, that's on you.
I'm going.
That's on you. Wasn't part of the script.
No, it wasn't. I wanted to say, I need you to hear me.
I do not adapt, improvise, or overcome. I stick to the plan.
I'm an audible bitch.
You are audible. I'll give you that. You're audible. You're real audible. You got real audible later. But we got you patched up.
Yeah.
We had a little chat. Everything's good. Put you in the car. Get a little AC on. Give you a little longer break. Probably a little too long, but it was the break you needed. Not a big deal.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's fine. And you and Phil just headed out. A little party time. This is a large man in a red onesie with Mickey Mouse on it.
Like he's swole.
Yeah, swole. He's swole up.
Yeah.
Phil's a dude. And it's like short, like quarter sleeves and quarter shorts, like onesie. This is a child's garment he has on. And it's cotton. It's 100%
on this
cotton.
Yoked man.
Yeah. Just like, who? What happened? What happened to you?
Like,
was this like, was this like an experiment where they took a child like that was in his pajamas and they just like a superhero moment, like almost a Hulk level, and didn't come out of it? But you guys, had a good next section. Next section was Phil was okay, B?
Yeah.
Yeah, you came back into Old Dow Road. Shout out to Dan and D Adventures out there. Always good to see them hanging out. I think that was probably 5 minutes. Like, you weren't there very long at all. We got you turned out.
Yeah. Yeah, I was ready to get rolling. I was in a really good space.
Yeah. You'd recovered.
Yeah, I was very excited to be dry. It was very...
That's all it took.
Yes. And I put on Exoskin shorts after that. So I got into really tight compression. And I knew that would help being able to run downhill again and just... harness, I don't know, flatten all the legs. I couldn't have that much movement anymore.
Yeah, it's good to have some
we had to reduce some jiggling.
Yeah.
So that was a game changer for sure, mentally and physically. And then we did the little traily section, which I hate going that direction. I hate going out of Old Dow that direction.
Well, here's the deal. Is that there's a road right there,
and
then
the road goes straight to the road that we're going to fucking be on.
Straight to the road you're going to be on, and instead of just going down it, you go boop, and then you go up this little hilly bit.
Well, here's the thing: when you're coming in from the opposite direction, like in the beginning, it's so great. Like you come off the road, it's just like a short climb.
You can't wait to get on the trail.
Yeah, and it's a short climb. Like it's not even bad, and then it's basically just kind of like a long downhill to get to you guys. No, this way,
a long uphill.
Yeah.
Then a short downhill, and then the wide open road.
Yeah.
For 6 miles. Dude, it all goes uphill. It all goes uphill in the hottest part of the day.
Yep.
Is it real shady?
Coming through this time, there was a little bit more, nice. but not really. No, it's a lot of sun. And at this point on the road, I took off my shoes and I was running barefoot because I still have my socks on, but I just wanted like a different feel on my feet. Like,
would you recommend ultra runners take their shoes off and to go down an asphalt road in the middle of a race? Is this a recommendation?
Yeah, it was great.
No, it's not. Don't do that.
There's videos.
Don't do that.
It felt
Listen,
so good.
What you need to do is you need to test and acquire appropriate footwear and just wear that thing.
Well, I wanted my black sandals because those have arch support. And I took those off because I had been traumatized by the lack of any fucking traction on the DRT. So I put on the other Tevas.
Probably not a good idea.
Yeah, that are not as comfortable.
They're not even trail Tevas. They're like beach sandals. Yeah. They have little palm trees on them.
Yeah. Anyways, I wanted my foot to flex a different way than it had been for quite some time. And the little gravels were like just little massages on the bottom of my feet. And the heat's like helping dry out the socks. It was all working. And I was sad to put them back on, but I knew we were coming up on a bunch of the blind curves and there's nowhere to step off. And you can't step off barefoot like that. So,
and then the road turns into gravel.
Yeah. So once I had to put the shoes back on, sadness set back in, and my feet felt like it hurts. Phil has like the videos of me like running. I was like, oh my God, this feels so good. It felt so free.
You always,
like my toes could just sprawl.
You just find these little moments to enjoy yourself and enjoy the new thing. You just always find those little moments.
Yeah. I mean, who else is out there running barefoot in the middle of Crow
Not anybody with smarts on. I think you're the only one in sandals out there.
People always comment on that.
You definitely have the most miles and Crow participants in sandals.
For sure.
That's the title. So we saw you at Stanley Gap, which is when I was going to jump in. You came up the road, just going to hang out. And, I think you were probably in a very similar spot as you were at WillScott. You were just not having a great time again.
No, I was pretty tired. I kept having these waves of energy and emotion, and I fucked myself because I stopped being present and I did math yet again. And I knew that I would have at least 8 hours to the finish. Now, I knew I could make it less than that. And then my brain went, I want nothing to do with that. We're not hustling for shit. Like my brain just, my brain
I was there.
An emotional tank went,
we were not hustling.
I don't have it. And then like there was another thing in my brain that went, oh God, we know what this is gonna be. And the other side is like, yup, buckle up, it's gonna fucking suck.
I thought we were having a great time out there. It was wonderful. I loved it.
Yeah, there was a lot of internal dialogue of I knew what was coming, which is the beauty of running that and also the downfall. Because when you know that you're not there or it's going to shit, you know the storm that's coming.
Yeah.
And I wanted to stop it. I wanted to. I just didn't have the power to stop it. And I was frustrated by the fact that I didn't have the power to stop it.
Oh, good grief. So we got out. We were going to do that section together, about 20 miles.
And this is the first time you've ever paced me in a race.
Mm-hmm. First time ever pacing. The only part of the course I haven't seen. I've done the DRT a bunch. Paced that section from Skeena to Stanley last year with Tony. So this was a new portion for me and a new experience for us together.
Oh my God, there's still like first for us.
That's weird. And, I'd done the math of when we were going to finish. Like, this is our probable time right now, which is about exactly when we finished, by the way. And then I did kind of like, this is when we can finish. And then, well, this is when we can finish mass. So there was 3 numbers out there.
Mm.
Because I saw how it was going and I went, it's going to take longer than I intended to be out here.
I wanted it to be like 6. I knew it wasn't going to be 6.
Yeah, I thought 6 was real possible. Again, I'd not been on that section, but I knew what it was. And I was like, okay, yeah, okay. Well, this is what we can do. This is what we're on pace to do if we hold it. And then if this doesn't go well, this is what we're in for. Unfortunately, that was not what happened.
Thank God.
Oh, God, thank God.
Yeah, I really wish this is a new learning thing for me. I wish that I had switched it on my watch to time of day sooner. I think that would have been a very good motivator for it. It would have given me more of this and allowed me to get out of my head. Because once you see the second sunset,
It was coming for us.
oh God,
It was coming. There was no getting out of it.
it's very defeating.
We were in, and I was just hoping, like, can we get down into Weaver Creek before the sun sets? Like I was hoping to get as far as we could, and then we started out on trail together. And this off in the distance, the sky is getting shorter, and I'm like, oh God, we got to make up more. We got to be farther into this thing before it gets dark.
I had the same thought. That's why I started running.
We got to be farther into this before it gets dark. Like this isn't
it's not good.
This isn't good. This isn't good. But you did kick it up. And when I say you kicked it up, you kicked it up immediately. Like there was what we'll graciously call power hiking. And then there was just running. And there was no like in between those two things at all. We went from 25 minutes a mile to 13 minutes a mile like that.
And the 13 minutes a mile, I'm going to tell you, felt way better. That was the other.
Why didn't we do more of those?
That was like one of the other emotionally frustrating things is hiking was so much more painful and running felt better.
Walking downhill is the worst.
It's terrible.
It is the most defeating thing to happen.
But I was walking flat. I was walking, I was
committed to
and walking just hurt.
Being non-committal.
So much. And I was just like, well, just suck it up and run. And
it's not like you didn't have prodding. It's not like you didn't have somebody there, going, hey, what do you think about this little bit right here? This smooth, gentle downhill.
Yeah, you were saying things.
Well, there was people behind us at that moment. And I caught them out of the corner. They were making their way towards us. And I was like, maybe we move a little bit right here. Maybe a little bit. And you were not having it. And then I turned around and you were just screaming into the forest. And about the time you got done with this blood-curdling scream against creation, father-son duo pops up behind you going, hey, Becca Jones.
Oh, yeah, Bob Waters and Larkin Waters. Yeah, I love them so much. And Bob was like, well, Becca's not happy. I was like, sorry, that's my internal dialogue.
Yeah, you immediately got super fake, like, oh, no, it's everything good. I had a great time. And I was like, oh, gosh, you're embarrassing me.
No, it's not fake. I reached a point where it was like, what was going on internally? I just had to like let out. I couldn't fight it anymore. I know when we were going down into, we were definitely coming out. It was so funny. I'm like walking and crying.
Yeah.
Just,
and
then like we'd pass people. I'm like, hey, great job. Awesome job. Oh yeah. Hey, so good to see you.
Oh my God,
and then I go right back to
people out here. We need more people.
Yeah. Like I remember talking to Tony, and they're just like tears still coming down my face, but I'm talking normal.
Yeah, Tony's like, is everything going on? So the Colonel was running the 50, and
so he could complete a set.
So he gets set, and the one of your goals was like to not get passed by Tony. Which starts at 8 a.m. So you got quite a head start.
I wanted, even if we got to that point, I wanted it to be at least a deep gap.
Yeah, and that was like, again, the clear conscious mind of what I had going on, tracking Tony's progress all day. I was like, Tony's going to catch us. Oh, yeah. Tony's going to catch us. And I told Bethany, Tony's wife, I was like, hey, he's going to catch us. This is what's going to happen. And then I knew, I didn't speak it up, but like Tony was going to catch us at Weaver Creek. 100%.
That was one of my other goals, was to get out before. I wanted to get out of Weaver Creek and be climbing up by the time he caught us.
So we get down in before dark. I think we eventually turned on a headlamp getting down in there because it's down in the bottom. It kind of gets overgrown. You can't really see. We were both kind of.
It's dark under the
right now. I think if you were just kind of hiking, if you were on a hike and you were wrapping up, like if that was the parking lot, you'd be like, there's no way I'm turning on a headlamp.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or even if you were just in the park on a training run, you'd be like, I'm not turning my headlamp on for this. But that when you're that far in and you're going to turn on a headlamp, but you didn't want to stop there. And you're like, I'm getting in and out. He's like, do you need anything? I was like, I mean, it's water. Like one of us should stay hydrated on top of things. And then I grabbed some gummy bears for you. So one of the things that we realized pretty quick was that a lot of what you had going on was you just needed sugar. Sugar was the substance that was going to make everything work. mentally. You hadn't had any sugar the whole race. It's not something we usually do. We recommend and stay away from sugar as long as you can, because once you start that glucose process, you're on a timer more than anything else. You've got a 20-30 minute window of where everything's happy, and then it gets worse, and then you hit it again. And I didn't have enough trolleys, which are the sugar coated gummy worms, sour gummy worms. There's nothing that works better for this, I think, than trolleys.
And I had very minimal sugar. I mean, I did have some Coke and
I
stuff
don't think
throughout.
that doesn't count.
It doesn't. I mean, that was more like carbs and caffeine.
Yeah.
And I think throughout the entire race, I maybe had 1 liter, including what I drank at aid stations. I maybe had a liter of Coke.
Oh, you didn't even drink I got you a bottle of Coke, and you didn't even drink it on all your aid stops. So
that's what I'm saying. Collectively,
yeah,
I probably drank that much Coke.
So not a ton. But that was the thing. And, I had more in the crew box, and I just grabbed like 1 bag. I'm like, sure, this would be enough. And it was not. I needed about 4 of them. But we gave you some, and it was working. But I knew I didn't have enough to get through. So I grabbed a bag of gummy worms. And they were delighted because nobody had wanted those. Oh my gosh, nobody's wanted gummy worms before. Yeah. So I grabbed those, and you're like, and you just turned around. I was like, you ain't waiting on me. Get on up there. I got you. And I turned around and come out, and you're just sitting there on a log. I'm like, oh.
I did say
you've been lying to me.
No,
not what I expected.
I want to have a minute and take a break. Yeah, I said, but I didn't want to do it around people.
Totally understand.
I wanted a minute of quiet, and this log was right next to one of the creek crossings that we had to do, and it was so funny because you came back, you're like, what are you doing? I was like, I was in the middle of like audibly and out loud praying. I was like, please God, please, I appreciate this body that you have given me and this ability. I'm so grateful for everything, but if you can just give me the strength to get through this, I swear to God, I'll do anything. Just please. I said, please just give me energy. I'm so tired. Lord, please. I mean, I was just like,
that was awesome.
And I also said some like sweet things, but I remember just like,
you just want to give. I said some sweet things to God too.
I did. I just remember being very like tired, emotional, and just tired of feeling tired. But also, the frustrating thing in my head was I knew physically I still had so much more.
Yeah.
Like, you can do this and you can move faster, but my tank of like, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Was just. It was like sputtering. It was like
no, it wasn't sputtering. It was like those auxiliary tanks on planes, like the jets they jettison when they get out of the ocean. That's where your tank of get up and go went. you jettisoned it off the aircraft when you were out over the Pacific.
Because there's no.
But it was a really great moment, and I was really glad that we were there in that moment, and we just had that time, and it's just.
Then the colonel walked
just is blessed, and then the colonel comes in, and we chat up with him and kind of trade stories and talk a little bit. We gathered up and go. He catches us on the climb. It's 2.5 miles,
something like that. Why don't you tell the folks about Weaver Creek and your first experience with Weaver Creek? Because this is the pointless out and back that makes it 104.
No. It is not a pointless out and back. It's a pointless down and up. That out and back nonsense is falsely advertised. It's not out and back. Out and back, you just go out there a little bit and then you come right on back. This is a down. It's a down, 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 down. And then it's an up, 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 up. And the way we were moving, up, up, up. It's so good that it is actually an out and back section that you see people going down and coming up, because it would be so morally soul crushing if you were just climbing out and getting past, or climbing out and seeing no one. Both of those are bad. Yeah. But you're climbing up and you're seeing people come down, and that at least gives you a little bit of levity. It gives you a little bit of life. You can see headlights come your way. You can see headlamps come up from the bottom. There's movement, and you can kind of see where you're going. Yeah. And there's a little bit of reprieve from it.
And at the pace I was on the 100, like you're in the thick of the 50s.
You're right in the 50s, and they're moving, and so it's really good because like in your head, you're not really worried about like competing or getting past or doing any of that nonsense. Like it's a pretty safe chance that the people moving that quick out there are in it for the 50.
Yeah,
and they're all super happy, of course.
Yeah, they're running.
They're like halfway through their race. Like they don't.
They all think we're idiots. I remember like looking at one girl, and I just had to look at you. You're on walking around on your 2 legs.
Around on your 2 legs. You did say that at one point.
I did.
So what is she muttering about there? Because you were muttering a lot of times. Like I couldn't hear at all what you were saying because I'm behind you and you're not being super loud or cheery. Here's it. So I was just like, what? And you're like, I'm like, she's just up there doing her own thing. You were in ultra running purgatory, and I was a little gruntled with what we had going on. Not what we had going on, but with your commitment to being in purgatory. You were not accepting that, hey, this is going to take longer than I want it to take, and I'm just going to I'm going to relax. I'm going to let my guard down and have a good time with it. On board with that. Like, hey, we can have fun out here. We're going to be out here for 8-10 hours, and I might as well enjoy it. We don't have to be grumpy pants the whole time. Or like buckling down, hey, I don't have a lot left, but like push me, keep me going. Like, let's get this thing done. You were doing neither of those things. You were just trapped in this middle, refusing to accept and let your guard down and relax and enjoy the process, or gird your loins and go back in for the 16th round of the fight. You were just kind of stuck for 6.5 hours of Dante's 7 levels of hell inferno out there, which is what I think Stanley Creek to the finish is.
I would agree with that.
And so we're going that 2 miles back up. Mm-hmm. And then what do you get to do when you get to go up again?
Oh,
you go back down.
Yeah.
And we're still in this battle. So we're not trotting downhill. We're scoping good sit logs. That's where we're at. We're looking for good spots to sit, which is all well and good. Like, hey,
no, I didn't want that. That was the thing. I didn't want it. And that was the other like internal.
I was so proud of you because I stopped to go to the bathroom, and then I like, go on ahead. I'll catch up. And then I passed like just wonderful sit rock. I'm like, oh, that's a perfect rock to sit on. She's such a good girl. She's such a good punk. And then like 5 minutes later, she's like, it's like, this is a horrible spot. This is the worst spot to sit.
Well, and at least when I sat, I ate and drank. Like
it was quick. I mean, it's not like we were taking breaks. And I'll say, even in all of that last 20 miles, you managed your downtime really well. We didn't stop at aid stations. We stopped at Deep Gap. You took 5 minutes in a chair there.
Yeah. Well, you were like refilling water.
Yeah, I mean, you were good. Yeah, but like even with the sitting down, it's not like we were hanging out.
No,
we were avoiding Bluetooth speakers.
Yeah, there was that. There's definitely a Bluetooth speaker out there that really carried throughout some of those.
Well, here's what's going on. So you do the pointless down and up, and then you go down again into Deep Gap, and then when you get to Deep Gap, you do a loopy, a little lollipop loop, and at this point in the race, it's dark, and for some reason you are just going down one side of this mountain, so you can see all the way to the bottom. It's like descending the depths of, it's not Mordor, Moria. It's like you're going into the mines of Moria from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
And it, like,
you were like, is there going to be orcs down here? And I said,
that's what it looked like. You just expect there to be orcs in the bottom somewhere.
I said, I fucking hope so, and I hope it fucking eats me.
Like, is there Trollocs we got to worry about? Like, what? This is awful. And it was genuinely awful. Like, it was just like, you can see the headlamps down there. And you go,
we're not even close.
Those are so far down.
Not even close.
Those are so far down. And then you keep going, and they're not any closer.
Well, because you said to me, you're like, are there lights out there? I go, yeah, it's fucking Deep Gap. It's down there where we're going.
It's so far
down. And you were like, it's so far down. That's all you kept saying. And in my head, I go, oh, yeah, I know.
It's just down there.
I know.
Down there in the depths of the darkness. And it was fine. I mean, we did have a little sit. We turned the headlamps off and just, sit in the darkness.
Yeah, you could almost lose your balance.
You would lose your balance. You would 100% at that point. Like, you'd get a little, ooh, what's going on? But gosh darn it, eventually we somehow made it to the depths of the mine. Slowly.
very slowly.
Painstakingly slow.
And this was one of the mistakes again I made, was thinking about the last time when I was in that position. Like, uh,
Yeah.
I was battling for third, and I remember going into Weaver Creek, and like me and Tony were hauling ass downhill because the Colonel was pacing me that year. And I remember getting into Weaver Creek. We were in and out in under 2 minutes because I figured she was right behind me because I'd passed her right out of Stanley Gap or Stanley Creek. And I just remember I was in like that race mode, and we weren't even 2 minutes out of the aid station, and I saw her coming in, and then we were like hauling ass uphill and running, and I remember like hauling ass into Deep Gap and getting down there and just feeling like she was breathing down my neck, and I managed in that 13 miles left to put like 45 minutes.
Yeah, and it's not so steep where you can't make up good time going up or down. Yeah. Like it's solid, but
but it creeps in your head.
How can it not? And that's such a trap to be in. But how do you avoid it?
And that was one of the internal frustrations, because I said, Becca, you're doing all the shit not to do. And I just couldn't stop it. It just kept fucking happening. And I could kind of turn it off, but it just kept coming up.
Well, and it's so funny because I'm watching all of this play out, obviously, in real time, and watching you flow in and out of your emotion and will. And it was like, okay, well, I'll have some gummy worms. And then like you were better.
How's the sugar?
And then it's like when you would get grumpy, like, well, how about you take that gel? How about you do a gel now? And like it was, so it's so much of this is genuinely like, it's just mechanical, a lot of it. And we think it's so much bigger, and it's real, but we can manipulate it with the things our body is looking for that we're deprived. So I was like, oh, I have a little, all right, have a little candy, have a little gel. Why don't you sip some water? Like, and then you would levitate. You would never come up. Like it's not like we kicked it and everything was great and you were BMFJing the thing, but it was giving you enough of a lift where you could get your arms around yourself and kind of quiet your mind down and get back to at least, moving. And you were always, I told you that you were out there. We get into Deep Gap. You slumped into a chair.
I was going to quit. There was only 9 miles left.
Tell us that story.
I remember telling you when
you were telling me
down the hill.
I wasn't sure. You weren't saying it real loud, but I'm trying to hear it. I'm like,
yeah. We were probably 11 miles out at that point, because I think I'd asked you, what do we have when we get there? And I knew that it'd be 9 miles to the finish. And I said, I'm fucking quitting when we get to Deep Gap. And you were like, what? I was like, I'm fucking quitting when I get to Deep Gap. Like, I'm not doing it. I said, I don't want to be out here anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, and then I went, you're not supposed to fucking tell me that. I was like, that's the wrong thing to say. I was like, dude, that's absolutely not what you tell me.
I'm not the one.
I am vulnerable right now.
I'm not the one. Listen, if you want to quit around me, I'm not the one. Because I'll tell you the logical reasons why you shouldn't. I'll give you the straight, like, hey, this is stupid. Like, we're this far in. We've got 10 miles left. That 10 miles is probably going to take us 2 hours. But it's dumb to throw away 36 hours that we have in the bank in the 95 miles we've done to not finish the 10 that are have left. Like, when you come back next year for Buckle 4, you've stacked,
a whole nother finish in there.
You've got a whole nother finish worth of miles that you haven't done. So, hey, this is stupid. I don't want to be out here anymore either. So we should probably finish. But if you don't want to, that's fine. Like, yeah, you're right. I don't want to be out here 5 more hours either. Let's pack it up, call rescue, and get up and get on with it. Yeah. Like, you wait here, I'll walk down the road and get the car. Like, not a problem. So, yeah, I'll give you all the practical information that you need to make the right decision. But I get it. What's up?
It made me so mad. I was like, this cocksucker motherfucker. Oh, yeah. No.
Well, yeah, let's go home.
No.
Frozen pizza's waiting.
Then I thought about, I was sitting in the chair and I was like, I'm not going to do that to Phil and Aaliyah. I said, I'll do that to me and you.
I knew you weren't going to do it. I wouldn't have encouraged any of that. But genuinely, like, I'll give, like, hey, we need an honest talk. Like, if you want to quit, that's fine. Here's the deal. This is where we're at. This is what you have left. If that's not something you want to do, I get it. You need to do it and you should do it. But if you don't want to, and if you don't have it right now, okay. Like, you said the same thing to me. Like, I can't make you want it.
No, you can't make somebody.
So I can give you all the information I have, and I will. Like, I'll advise you of what to do, but these are your options. Either we're done now, or you're in this for 5 more hours, and 5 more hours at that point is that's a long time. It's a short window, but like, good grief,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
But
that was the only time that I felt like quitting. That which I was actually as miserable as I had been, and the depths of hell I had been in mentally. I was very surprised that was the first time I'd ever.
Yeah,
thought
you're gonna
about
quit. You
quitting
should have quit at Stanley.
Yeah.
Or Old Dial. Or Will Scott.
Like, I wasn't gonna quit. It was gonna get done.
Pick one. Don't quit. Now is horrible.
Don't do that. I made up my mind before that I was not gonna quit, but I very much
wouldn't be the first to quit a Deep Gap, I'm sure.
I bet there have been people that really.
Oh, there's been plenty.
I would believe it.
There's been plenty.
Yeah. I mean, all you've got's 9 miles left, but it was also just fucking 9 miles. God, it's gonna take forever. And I was like, actually, it doesn't take forever if you run faster, if you just run, or if you just move. If you don't death march, it won't take that long.
You don't think you were ever really death marching? It wasn't that low death march. It was you were moving okay. We threw some coke at you again. We got you a little more sugar, a little more energy in you, and we started out on the loop, which is the bear. Is 6 miles, and oh my gosh, we get basically just out of this aid station, and there is a rustling in the brush offside the trail, like right offside the trail, like moving trees.
Yeah, I was trying to tell you. Noise. And here's the thing: I had been mumbling a lot and not talking loud, and I'm like, "There's a bear," and you're like, "What?" And I'm like, "There's a."
Yeah, I'm not that invested in what you're saying at this point. None of it matters. Like, it's not like we're conversating. I've been trying to keep it conversation light, and we've been, I'm trying to sing some songs and make up some songs.
You talk to other runners before you talk to me.
And I'm saying hi to everybody that's there because you got
to talk to somebody.
Good gracious, both of us can't be in a sour mood out here. So you told me that you very much wanted me to stop singing, which is fine.
You were singing very loudly.
Yeah, if you're going to sing loud.
You were. It's like listening to a Bluetooth speaker. I guess if you're going to listen to it loud. I just want to go, can you not sing quieter? Not everyone wants to hear you.
I'm trying to bring the energy up. I'm trying to get a little pep in the step.
That's what people with the Bluetooth speaker try and do.
Well,
you're being a hypocrite.
No.
And I want to throat punch you.
That's way different. If there's other people singing, you can interact with the people singing. And we've sang songs before.
Yeah, no,
you were uninterested.
I appreciated the intention.
Like,
I did not appreciate the execution, but I appreciated the intention.
Was making your race better at all.
No, you were actually making me pretty happy in my soul.
Like,
there were only a couple times that I do think one time audibly I said, "Shut up."
Yeah, you probably mumbled it.
I did. And I went, "Oh, Becca, that's an outside voice." In my head,
when did you tell me to shut up?
I think it's when you were singing loudly.
Yeah, probably. I started out singing kind of medium level.
Yeah.
Thinking maybe I'd coax you up a little bit. And then I thought, well, I was singing a little bit louder. So she.
No, I wanted to turn around and shoot you a look, but that meant stopping. And I didn't think I could stop.
So we head out Deep Gap Loop. We scare the bear away. It's the first time I've had to scare a bear away. But we got it done.
Yeah. It was so much fun. And that was like the other thing when I was trying to, in my head, I'm going, danger. And then I'm saying, bear. And I'm in my head, I'm like, how do you not fucking see those trees moving and hear everything?
That's probably,
You were doing stuff. You were back behind me, like, doing things. And I want to be like, I am not to be trusted. But I know that this is real and loud.
Boop. What happened to Becca? She got eaten by a bear.
And I'm like... And then you realize what's going on, and you swoop into, like, masculine, I'm good. And then you were getting pretty close over there. And I was like, the redneck in me went, I won't go for this bear over here. And then I went, don't do that.
So you
got
to answer the question in real time.
Do what?
You got to answer the question in real time. A man in the woods or a bear? Which would you?
I was really glad the man was there when I was moving towards the bear.
Not so hypothetical now, is it?
Because it wasn't like off it was like 3 feet from the trail. The trees that were moving when I first saw it, I couldn't believe that I didn't see its fur. It was moving the stuff next to it, and then by the time you got up to me, it was probably 5-6 feet off the trail. I could see the trees moving, and it was not moving away from us.
No, it was not moving.
It was moving along in the direction that we were going and beside it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this motherfucker's about to pop out. I'm like, oh my God. And like, you were over there yelling and bear and clacking, and I'm yelling bear. I'm probably not very loud.
Nothing.
No, I was saying things. But then like the danger sense of like, this motherfucker is not playing. And I'm like, this isn't like a Smokies bear. This is probably like a wild bear.
This is a bear.
Yeah, like this is a black bear. So like, hey, boo boo, picnic Yogi Bear.
Yeah. He's not a picnic basket bear.
He's like,
he's a claw your face bear.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, there's all this aid station food. There's people that have been camping and hanging out. I'm sure there's people that have dropped shit all along the trail, and the bear has used its bear senses and been like, oh, there's easy food over here because humans are in the woods and we're assholes.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. I was like, oh my God, John's about to get attacked. Like I remember just standing there thinking it, being like, please God. I was like, why is this bear not going the opposite direction? Like in my head, I just couldn't believe that this is happening. I was like, are we really doing this at mile 90 something?
Mm-hmm.
Is there about to be a fucking bear in the middle of the trail at mile 90? And this isn't a hallucination. No,
I was there. Bear.
Yeah.
I was there for the bear.
And I mean, listen, baby, I'll jump in and fight a bear with you.
You were in no.
But I was in no condition. I was in no condition. But that was what I thought. I was like, oh my God, I'm a liability at this point.
Oh yeah, complete detriment to the team.
Like I could poke its eye maybe with my pole.
No, you can't.
But
you don't have that dexterity. You're not going to get the bear with a pole tip. Not a chance. And your poles are so short. Like, that's way too close. You're within the bear's reach at that point.
I know.
Tiny little poles. Like
it was so funny to me though afterwards, like how much went through my brain in that short amount of time, and how like I went from this is real. Like this shit's real.
We're in it.
Yeah, and usually bears in the woods, I've come across them at night. They don't really bother me, but I've not had one get that close and not kind of just
want to go away.
Yeah.
It wasn't that interested in going away.
No, it was not. And then it made me wonder, are there babies? Are we in between? What's happening?
I didn't even think about that. I just decided to keep on moving. I was like, yeah, we make some noise and then we're going to keep going. Because we're not getting any closer to the finish stand line here.
We definitely weren't. Anyways.
We got the bid punch. Got to that bid punch. You got to that bid punch and then you came around. Like you there was and your head was in it. And you decided you wanted to do running.
Yeah.
Which is good because we were on the Downy Hill bit of the loop. And we ran about all that. We ran about, I don't know, probably 1.5 miles, 2 miles maybe.
Well, they moved the bid punch. It used to be on that bridge. So it was more in the beginning of the loop. And honestly, it was a bit of a mindfuck because getting to that bid punch on that loop means it's almost over.
Yeah, it was, the bid punch was definitely in the first half of the loop. But like you clicked and we were running again. And you were running. Like, so, and you're in all that there was to run, and then to make that climb out, basically, because it goes back uphill, but you didn't let up. Like we were moving on the climbing up bits, and you were digging your poles in, and you'd pushed. Like you were ready, and you kind of regardless of what's going on. I think a lot of people fall into this trap, and they don't have what they wanted to have, and it's not going the way they want it to go. And so they relax into that. It just is what it is. And I don't care anymore. And blah, 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 blah. And I'm just going to have fun with it or quit or do whatever. You're that person that's always going to get everything you have. Like you want to get everything you can get out of it. You want to give everything you have to give it. If you can save 5 minutes, you're going to save the 5 minutes. If you can run the 10 steps, you're going to run the 10 steps. Now, there was times out there where you were in that battle and you were bouncing off yourself, working, trying to get to that space. But, there was a point in that loop where it clicked and you went, yep, I'm going to give everything I have. Maybe it's not a lot faster. Maybe I'm saving 5 minutes here or 10 minutes or 30 seconds to the finish line. But you had committed to wanting that thing. And that's kind of how you always approach things. And kind of regardless of circumstances or shape or whatever it is, you're you're going to do the best you can do. You're not going to relax into whatever. Like I've got till noon tomorrow. I'm going to sit in this chair for an hour and a half, take a break or whatever.
Oh yeah, I don't have that in me. I can't. I can't do that.
You're going to give it all you got. And so we hustled on in back to the aid station, and we had 3 miles to go. You didn't sit down. We weren't there for a minute. Slam some Coke and like, let's boogie.
Yeah. You did try and give me a good pep talk. You were like, remember that time at the end of running 50 miles when you ran like a 27-minute 5K?
No, I didn't say that. I was just joking with you the time we ran a 5K.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the time of Huntington, when I came into Huntington during the trance.
No, you weren't paying attention to me at all.
Okay.
So we get out there, and then you did threaten to kill me before it was over. You got very, very detailed into how you were going to kill me.
Whose fault's that?
A mile out from the finish.
Well,
you got very angry. Very quickly.
I don't know that I was angry.
Whatever it takes at that point. And then you started quoting rap lyrics. And anytime you're quoting rap lyrics to songs I've never heard of, I know we're in a good spot.
Oh, so that's the Biggs. Well, it was after I threatened you and you said something about going to jail. I said, whatever, man. Take it shit to trial, bitch.
I said, you have to catch me first.
Oh. Whatever.
And I knew you couldn't do that.
That's what I said. I'll wait till we get back home. And then wait till you're in bed. And then I'd take something to your shins.
Again, with the threatening to kill me.
It was all over running to a flag. You were like, just run to the flag. I was like, I'm not running the fucking flag. I'm gonna run until I can't run anymore. I'm not gonna stop. Like that's an emotional waste for me.
And 10 seconds later you were walking.
Yeah, but I didn't stop.
Sometimes it's helpful when trying to complete a task to set small, measurable, and attainable goals.
Yes.
And running from one flag to another, if you're struggling to keep the motivation, is a good target. Like, hey, let's get one more flag and then we're going to take a break. And you're and I'm going to walk now.
I agree. And I would tell anybody else that. And it is a winning strategy for me when I'm in that place, thinking about starting to
you
running
could not
again.
Be motivated.
No one's going to do
it. You could not be motivated out there. Just give it all I had. None of it was working.
No one can do it for me.
I was throwing everything against the wall. None of it's sticking.
Do you understand how annoying it can be to face me sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, would you have rather had somebody else?
No, I was so glad it was you.
Oh, me too.
I was so glad because, here's the fun thing. Once I've made my mind up to where I'm at or what I'm doing, there is nothing. There's not a phrase, a pep talk, a thing. There's nothing. You can't play something and I go, yeah. It all has to come up here.
Uh-huh.
And if I don't choose to be open to it, it's not happening. It's not.
I think you finished pretty well. We ran quite a bit of the roadie bits, ran quite a bit of that 3 miles on into the finish, and got your buckle, baby.
Yeah, singing that last Mr. Biggs.
How's it feel to have number 4?
It feels really good. It really does. And as this race always does, it takes me to a place of, one, acceptance. And it slipped me into a place of purgatory that I've not been in a long time. I don't like going there, but it is a reminder that place is there and to employ the tools that work to not go to that place and to learn yourself and your mind, your body, what you're capable of, and the things that take you there and the things that pull you out. And I know that I was frustrated with that because I knew that I had physically the ability. I couldn't flip that for whatever reason. And
part of it's just being exhausted, and part of it's being behind on calories and lack of sugar and
yeah.
There's logical things that produce these types of results. And if we can, just eat, I have some gummy worms right now.
I just remember crying and being like, I'm just so tired of feeling this way. I don't want to feel like this anymore.
Yeah. Give you a little more empathy. Now you know how I feel.
Listen, no one knows how I felt about her.
You're right. No one's ever been through it
Yeah.
before. Well, I'm proud of you. Glad you got done.
How do you feel about me having that and going through that and being there with me and seeing all of that? So I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for Phil. I'm so grateful for Aaliyah and so grateful for you. Like, everybody was so amazing and phenomenal and everything I needed. That's the other thing about all y'all were every bit of everything that I needed when I needed it.
Yeah.
Like, Aaliyah was a wonderful friend in the night, and we laughed, and she was, I think, we laughed about some of the mud and cussed the mud and all the stuff in our face, and uh, you know she never made me feel like it was easy for her out there, even though it might have been. Like, she made me feel like she's right there fighting the bullshit with me.
Yeah, there's an important, there's a razor's edge between a pacer complaining about what's going on and commiserating with what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be real careful, because I think there's times where it's very, very appropriate to bring it up.
Yes.
I dabbled with it a couple times. I was like, hey, I just want you to know that this sucks.
That lightened my soul, because it's gonna be like,
this
thank
is horrible.
God.
Like, are we really going into the mines right now? Like, what is going on down there? Like, this is so you like. But I think a lot of people would be like, oh no, you can never say anything. You got to be all super. No. Like, listen, if there's an appropriate moment to complain about what that crap you're going through, well, you need to be able to do it.
Yes.
Because the person that is running doesn't want to complain, and they don't want to vocalize things or bring on bad juju or let their thoughts go to anything less than positive. Sometimes you got to do that for them.
Yeah, and I was very grateful. She was wonderful at that. Me and Phil had some great talks. He was great energy. And there were a couple of times I was like, oh, God, this is I was like, thank you. Yes.
Becca Jones Pacers just complained the whole time.
Yeah. Somebody complained for me. Please.
There's a lot to complain about out there in all the sections. You won't have to look for it. You don't have to bring any ideas with you. It'll come to you naturally in a very short time frame.
And where I was in my space, like, I was very grateful to have you there. And maybe it worked against me some, because I felt like I could be myself and I didn't have to put it in a box and move through, because, I don't want to necessarily just be crying as I'm walking with somebody. Sure. or anything like that. So I was grateful for everyone I had in all those sections. And then, when we came closer to the finish and could hear Phil and Aaliyah down there, like, cheering and yelling for us was great. But yeah, I'm curious your thoughts on the journey, because you've witnessed all 4 of the Cruel Jewel 100s, 5, but 4 successful.
This was very much reminiscent of the first year, and I think in a lot of ways it was harder just because somehow you're capable of more. I will say this direction, if you've not ran the race since it has been starting at Camp Morgan, like, you need to go back and do it, because it's a different ball game. Mm-hmm. And so the first year you ran it, the first 2 buckles are from Blairsville, Morgan, and back. So finishing at Bogle State Park. These 2 buckles at Camp Morganton. I think this year was kind of harder for you than the first year. First year had a lot more downtime in it, but you were bouncing this year's experience off of the past 2, and knowing what you're capable of, and knowing and wanting more than what you were having on that day, and working hard to get more than you had on that day. You did great. You managed your downtime. You're allowed to feel things and be emotional. You're allowed to go through it out there. Like, why are you holding in? Telling you, like, hey, quit carrying that crap around. Like, getting to the finish line's hard enough. Don't carry an anvil with you.
Yeah.
Let it out.
Yeah, when you and Phil said that, the crowd, we're gonna let it out. Was,
like, who gives a turkey?
Yeah.
Like, let that crap out. You ain't gotta carry it around, especially with me. And yeah, I'm super proud of you. I'm super stoked. Like, I was angry that you were doing so well.
Why does that make you angry?
Because you don't even have to work hard for it. It doesn't make me angry. Like, I'm very, very, like, proud and amazed and inspired by you. Gosh darn it, it's just not fair sometimes. But and then, really proud of how resilient you were, and frustrated, that, hey, like, you can do a little bit more. Like, pick it up. Like, why are you toying with this? Like, I can see you. Like, this is, and so you're great. Like, super stoked. Number 5 is going to be the best one yet. Is number 5 going to be the best one yet? Is number 5 going to be the last one? Ugh. I don't ever want. After I did the Stanley to the end, I ain't doing that. That's mean.
Yeah, that was funny.
I run that race
because you're like,
I used to like it. I used to like it, and now I'm like, nope. That's dumb. It's not an out and back. It's an up and down. I don't want to do that. It's stupid.
And that's the thing. I usually like Weaver Creek. It doesn't usually bother me, but this time
it bothered you a whole bunch.
This time it definitely.
And even that loop's mean spirited. And like it's mostly flat. Like you can probably run 75% of that.
Yeah.
And it's just a mean girl. Like that loop is the friend that talks about you behind your back when you leave the table.
Oh yeah.
Like compliments your shoes and they think they're ugly. That's a mean little loop.
Yeah, she's a bitch.
It looks nice, but it's not.
It's so true.
Spiteful ass little loop down there in the mines of Moria. Orcs. Maybe that bear was an orc.
It could have been. Well, I thought about that afterwards. I was like, we fucking talked that up. I was like, I bet it was a fucking orc.
Yeah, there you go. There's orcs down there.
That's what it was. You know, one of the things I thought about a lot too, Phil and I talked about moving through things. Like the only way to get through the hard things is to keep going forward. And you know, we were just talking about life experience, stuff like that, and how in today's society it's so easy to quit anything that's uncomfortable. And I was like, I've quit some races, I've quit some things. I'm not knocking any of that, but if you don't like your job, well, you can usually just go find something. Now, it may not pay as much, and it's not whatever. But if you don't like what's on TV, if you don't like the movie that's on, like you can just always. You can change whatever you want and everything's built to your convenience. And if you are just even slightly annoyed with it, you can just be like, I'm done with this new thing. Same with like how easy the dating apps and all, everything.
How do you know about them dating apps? You better not be knowing about them dating apps.
I don't, but everything is right here in front of you, and you don't really have to work for anything that is uncomfortable. And I think about that sometimes when I'm out there. Like there are people that have no choice. They have diagnosis of, illnesses or family members dying or all these hard things that are happening that you don't have a choice. You can only go forward. If you stop or you decide you don't want to anymore, the option is death. Like that's it. And I think about that sometimes when I'm in that state of, I am so blessed to have a choice to continue to move forward through this shit. Yeah. This is extremely hard. It is extremely difficult, but I am choosing the way, and that is forward. And I have that opportunity because there's a lot of people that don't have a choice in certain things.
Well, I'm glad you did it. I'm glad we got number 4. We don't have to spend the next 2 years looking for number 5.
Oh, thank God. That was so funny with Sean at the end with the jacket.
Yeah. I think it could have been yours.
Yeah. I did love that.
Yeah. So we'll get 5 next year. The next 2 years, next 3 years will be a Cruel Jewel running.
Yeah. I love that race so much. They do so wonderful. And the volunteers are just so incredible. The community around the race it's amazing. It's so great year after year to see the same people, and there'll be some people that switch out at the aid stations, but year after year I can say I've seen some of the same folks that are just always there. And
we've had 8 starts.
Yeah.
8 years you've been going down there doing it. I've been on board for 6 of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dumbass Events, and everybody that made it all possible. I think that'll do it for this week's episode of the Ultra Crude Podcast, brought to you by the Race Directors Mid-State Mile, Beckett and John, ultra running coaches, ultra runners, obviously, and just doing this life together.
Yeah. So thanks, everybody, and thanks, everyone that sent me messages and encouraged, and we appreciate y'all.
We'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.